I kind of want to start moving pretty quick. We're getting close to lunchtime. Thank you, Judge. Did I send you the camera to do an audit of all the trucks that went by on 8/14?
I had all of the video.
Okay, the
Yes.
image.
Yes.
Okay, and I asked you to audit all the vehicles that went by 8/14, correct?
Yes.
And we were looking, or I was, to see how many vehicles rode by and if we saw the questioned vehicle again.
Well, prior to that, there were other reflective features of the questioned vehicle that I compared. Once those comparisons were done, I've got two more slides,
Right.
Then I was asked to look at all vehicles for a period of time that went by for a few days, several days, that went by, and were there any other vehicles that were consistent in class characteristics, make, model, year, color, and in headlight spread pattern or pattern features of the vehicle. So there were kind of a twofold question.
Okay, and prior to the audit, we were looking to figure out whether or not there was a toolbox in the back of the truck.
Well, the question was, were there any other vehicles that has similar reflection? And then could we compare the toolbox in the known vehicle with the reflection of objects in the rear of the questioned vehicle?
Okay, and show this jury what you did to determine whether or not there was a toolbox or any other reflection in the rear.
Number 40 is titled Toolbox Observations, and this is at 8/14. And when the questioned vehicle was northbound and it went underneath the light, there was a reflective object in the back of the vehicle. So what I did then is placed the known vehicle into the same position, and the toolbox reflected. The known vehicle is stationary, so this reflection is slightly different given the motion blur differences we discussed. Then I removed the box. I had the box removed. It's a very heavy box, so a couple of gentlemen had to remove it for me, and then that reflection changed. So as a result of that observation, I could say that there was a reflective object of the same shape in the same location in the questioned vehicle as the toolbox in the known vehicle. And when the toolbox was removed, that reflection went away.
And was there anything else that you determined that was reflective in the bed of the truck?
Not in this particular image.
Okay.
Then in the same exercise was done in the mill pond video. So as the vehicle moves northbound, we could see the questioned vehicle had a reflective object that was visible when it went underneath the light. And then that was then compared, that same object was visible as it went through that light. The question of whether anything else was visible in the back of the vehicle couldn't be answered because of the angle of the camera and the lack of reflection in that area, that we couldn't know whether or not there was anything else in the back of the vehicle. So that question could not be answered with the images provided.
Okay. And what did you do next?
At that point, I was asked to conduct an examination of many days of video, both daylight and nighttime, to determine the likelihood of a vehicle, a car, or a truck going by that area at 8/14, how many vehicles went by, how many could possibly be consistent with the questioned vehigle
And what did you
and
find?
the known vehicle. I created an audit, and this audit shows that between December the 17th, 2013, and January the 1st, 2014, I had all the video from 8/14 for that period of time. There was 3,910 trucks and 10,670 non-trucks. So by non-trucks, They were motorcycles and cars, things that could be distinguished from being a similar truck. So 25% or 27% of the vehicles were trucks. And I had a breakdown per day of how many of each, so we could see at Christmas time. There were far fewer because the holidays, fewer people were on the roadway. Likewise, January 1st. Each day I could break down truck, non-truck. And of all of those, no vehicle had the same headlight spread pattern as the question vehicle. In the daytime, I found one vehicle that was consistent, that was of the same class as the known vehicle. So only one vehicle during this entire time, apart from the vehicles we've tested on in the December date, there was one other vehicle during the daytime that was of the same make, model, year.
And tell the jury about that.
And that was in 14,000 plus vehicles. This vehicle appeared on December the 23rd, so 5 days later, at 12:40 in the afternoon. The actual time was 11:31, and this is southbound past 8:14. And this vehicle was towing a boat, and it was moving southbound, and it was there for a number of hours and came back. So the last image of the vehicle was at 12:40. Then at 17:48, so 5 hours later, the same vehicle came past the camera, going back now northbound. So the same direction of travel as the question vehicle we had examined from 5 days earlier. I did a comparison of that vehicle with the known vehicle. So this is I call this the unknown vehicle because I want to differentiate it from the question vehicle we've been examining, and comparing it to the known vehicle. So we have reflective door handles. It's black in color. There is a toolbox in the back of the vehicle. I've shown on slide 9 a close-up image of the reflective saw that was in the back, and there is an object that has the same reflective values that is in the same position in the back of this vehicle. Then going the other way, 5 hours later, made observations of the features, the characteristics that make the make, model, and year of the known Ford vehicle were identical to the unknown vehicle that is towing the boat from the area of the boat launch. The known vehicle has a hitch, and although we can't see the hitch specifically on the unknown vehicle, the tow vehicle, the boat, is attached to the same location. Underneath the unknown vehicle is a dark object toward the center, kind of underneath the drive console, and we see that same feature on the known vehicle. The headlights, or the reflective door handles are in the same position. Reflective wheels have the same reflective characteristics. And so we have a vehicle that is indistinguishable. We don't have the headlight spread pattern, so I couldn't make observations of that level of uniqueness. So my opinion about this vehicle is it's indiscernible, that it has the toolbox, and it has a object in the back that is in the same location, the same size, same reflective values as the toolbox, or as the saw that's in the back of the vehicle.
But you could not tell us that indeed it was a match without the headlight pattern.
Correct.
Okay. Now, what did you do next to assist us with this aspect of the case?
At that point, I was also asked to examine video recorded to a Walmart and compare that video with images of the known vehicle.
Okay, and if you don't mind, Judge, I'm gonna hook that Walmart video in just for a second.
I've got it here.
Okay.
So this is a image, video on December the 18th, pardon me, at, the purported time is 1:13 in the morning. I don't know whether or not this is accurate at the time. It's just what the time says. This shows a vehicle entering the parking lot. The vehicle has a reflective object at the front left-hand side where the license plate would be. I'm going to stop the image for a moment as the vehicle comes around to the front of the store. Again, at 1:13:05, it's going to drive down an aisle and then turn and go by the front of this camera view. And if I stop it here, this is a Ford F-150 that has all the same lighting characteristics as our known vehicle, and there is both a toolbox, and when I play it, you'll see an object in the back of the vehicle.
Now, Mr. Fredericks, in this video, when you first see the truck coming up, it appears to be a license plate of some kind on the right side. Were you able to identify any kind of reflection consistent with that?
There was some kind of reflective license plate type object on the left side.
Okay.
Yes.
And could you tell us whether or not that showed up on the footage from 814 and Mill Pond?
The angle of the cameras wouldn't let me know either way, so there was no reflective area on that area of the vehicle. I couldn't say whether or not there was a license plate.
Okay. Now, we were just talking about the time. Did you convert the time for accuracy on the 814 video as well as the Mill Pond video?
Yes.
Okay, and tell us, once you convert the time to the second, when did you give us that the truck could have possibly passed the camera on 814?
Can I go back to that exhibit?
I'm sorry, Mr. Fredericks.
I'd like to go back to that exhibit. And you said past 814, south or north?
I'm sorry, going towards the landing. Let's start that way first.
So the real time would be about 3:46.
Okay, now did you give us a range in your report? Because there's no way to tell kind of when the second flips over to the next minute. It could be.
Yes, so the issue of trying to calibrate timing between two separate DVRs that aren't connected, that don't share the same time. So in other words, my microwave at home flashes 12 because my wife and I don't set it for the accurate time because it's not important to us. Oftentimes, people who have DVRs either in their home or in their businesses, it's not important to them. If the power goes off, it stops recording. Power comes on, it starts recording again. So it was very common to have time inconsistent with real time. So what we do is we try to do our best to do a calibration of time. In this particular case, the time was off by about an hour, which means, in my experience, usually that during daylight savings time, somebody hasn't gone in and corrected the time offset. So it's very common to have it off by an hour, as this one was. The time difference between this DVR, digital video recorder, and the one at the Mill Pond would be completely different because somebody didn't say, let's set our watches exactly the same and set it. So there'd be some offset. So I relied on the investigator to say this was the time that the video was recovered, is consistent with the time of day. When I went there and looked at the time of day and the system, it was consistent. So I could rely on it to within about a minute, but it's plus or minus a minute. So here's what happens. This time only tells me to the minute. So if the video was switching over at a particular second, say 00, it switched. It would record at a certain minute. And then if it went for 59 seconds, it would still record the same time. So in 59 seconds, the vehicle can get some distance. And then the other DVR, if it switched over, if we were recording the image before it switched over, but it was at 50 seconds, now we're almost talking about a 2-minute difference in time, yet the two DVRs would purport the same time. So really our timing both ways is plus or minus up to almost 2 minutes.
Okay, and if you don't mind, look at what I'm showing you now, 126 and 127, and tell me if that records the calibration time from your report.
Give me a moment, please.
I'm sorry?
One moment, please.
Okay.
Yes, it has the offsets and the potential margin for error, which means that because we have a plus or minus almost 2 minutes, I can't know exactly when the vehicle passed 814 going south and when it passed 814 going north, but this is accurate. It accurately reflects the potential margin of error.
Okay. Your Honor, this time, can I place 126 and 127 in evidence and publish it to the jury?
Yes, is there a difference between 126 and 127?
Yes, sir, Your Honor.
So we know what, no, I understand, which is what?
Oh,
126 represents what? Calibration for time going north or south?
one's going south and one's going
I
north.
understand.
Yes. Your Honor, 126 reflects the southbound movement.
All right, thank you, sir.
127 reflects both southbound and northbound.
Okay, thank you, sir. That's the distinction.
Thank you, Your Honor. Can I publish it this time?
Okay.
Can I borrow that quote from you, Mr.
Oh, it's evidence, yes. Without objection.
Without objection.
Thank you. Thank you.
So what are we looking at now, Mr. Fredericks?
This is 126. This identifies in the larger arrows my evidence. The top left-hand corner is not my evidence, but the larger arrows are. And it reflects that given the offset time and the inability to define the exact second, so I can only do it by minute, it says that the vehicle movement would be between 3:35:09 and 3:37:01 past 8:14. And then it appears going past the site works at 3:38:08 to 3:40:06, and that is a known time.
Okay. And how about coming back?
And then coming back, so this is now 137, and this shows that the vehicle passes the site work at 3:44 to 3:45 in that less than 1 minute or 1 minute period, and then given the offsets would appear somewhere between 3:45:10 and 3:47. So it's about a 3 to so minute difference in drive time between the two. I drove that distance and could do it within that time.
Okay. Now, let me ask you this. Even when we calibrated the time, was the truck called on camera at 3:41 a.m.?
Yes.
When we calibrated the time,
When we calibrated the time here, I'm sorry, what was your question?
was the truck on camera at 3:41? It looks like it went from
Oh.
3:38 to 3:40.
Yes, yes. The truck, given the calibration, would have been on camera going southbound between 3:35 and then appearing up to 3:40.
Okay. So at 3:41, after we calibrated the time, the truck was not called on camera, correct?
Correct. It would have been south of that camera location at 3:41.
Okay, and how about after 3:41?
After 3:41, the next time that it appeared would be about 3:44.
Okay, and that
3:44,
was,
45, so near the end of that.
okay, and that was on Mill Pond.
Correct.
Okay. So the only time it wasn't caught on camera was 3:41.
Well, between 3:40 and almost 3:45.
Okay, so between 3:40 and 3:45, it was not on camera.
Correct.
So before that, it's on camera going towards the landing,
Yes.
and after 3:40, it's going back away from the landing.
Correct.
Okay.
Well, almost 3:45, so 3:44:45 is when it first appears.
Okay, so how many minutes are we talking about from the last camera on Mill Pond until when it comes back?
About 4 minutes and 40 seconds.
Okay. And when you were here, did you drive the route?
Yes.
And would it be possible to go to Peachtree Landing and back to DNS Site Works within that time frame?
Yes.
That's all I got, Judge.
There was, I'm sorry.
You want to finish your answer?
I did, yes.
You need to finish his answer, that's why I said. Okay?
And you'd asked me a question
Okay.
earlier about the Walmart, and
Yes.
then we had a question, so we changed, and I had to go back and finish that question.
Okay, sorry.
That's fine.
Tell me a little bit more. We were talking about the Walmart video and the reflection.
Yes.
Tell me about that.
Yes. So I was asked to do a comparison
Okay.
of the reflective features off the video, and this when we had a question, so we switched. So I'll go back to it. And this is basically an examination of the known vehicle and the question vehicle at Walmart. The question vehicle at Walmart has these distinguishable, oh, I'm sorry, thank you. And I think we have to change the input. Thank you. So we were talking about the vehicle as it was entering, and I did a comparison between that question vehicle and the dark pickup, the known vehicle, and I'm pointing out on slide 3 the reflective headlights. As the vehicle moves forward, you had asked me about the reflective license plate. Mm-hmm. There is no reflective license plate on the known vehicle. So this, I'm not sure what the time.
When this picture was
when
taken.
this picture was taken,
Right.
right, which was sometime after this.
Okay.
So that's a difference. So when I'm looking at that, I would call that a difference between vehicles. Okay. But it's a difference that can be explained. That's part of the methodology.
Okay.
An explainable difference was that either it's different because it's not the same vehicle, or that it was removed.
Okay. But it was definitely there at the Walmart.
At the Walmart, there is a reflective object consistent with a license plate in the area where the license plate would be here.
Okay. And later, when the truck is at the police department in this picture.
Yes.
The license plate had been removed.
Yes. So sometime in the month and a half or whatever time it was,
okay.
if this is the same vehicle, then the license plate had been removed.
Okay.
As we move forward now, we see that the reflective grille is different from the other reflective grills. It's not a full, it's more of a oblong, and it's visible here. As the vehicle turns the corner now, on slide 13, we can see that there is an object in the back of the question vehicle that has the same features, shape, size as the cutting table of the saw in the back. As the vehicle goes by the camera, we can see it's the same make, model, and year. It has the same hubcap characteristics. And then in the back of the vehicle, we can see the toolbox quite clearly. And again, the same hubcap, same wheel type, the thin sort of wheels. And we can see the hitch and other features of the vehicle. So the vehicle is virtually indistinguishable from the known vehicle.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Fredericks. No further questions. And can I get that for the clerk, the thumb drive? So
Yes.
we can put that in as 125. Is that right?
I've already marked 125, so it actually
Yeah, this is-
128.
128.
128 would be the
Okay.
thumb drive.
Okay.
128 without objection is a thumb drive, I understand. Okay. And that concludes your direct examination,
Yes, sir, you're right.
and you will have to make the cross-examination.
I think it's probably better to break it down.
All right, look, whatever works, that works best for you.
What's best? Yes.
All right, that's fine. Ladies and gentlemen, that we do, we reach a point that you go to your, have your lunch break, ask you to be back in your jury room, please, by 1 o'clock, and we'll resume the trial, do not begin your deliberations, don't discuss the case among yourselves, and don't allow anybody to talk about it. See you tomorrow. And if the state before we recess,
Yes, sir, you're right.
do you think it was better?
Yes, sir.
So you can step down, I would ask you during this recess that you're not having a conversation with any of the attorneys.
Yes.
See you at 1 o'clock. Thank you. All right, can I see you just a second, please?